Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Erica with Memory Box Candle Co. And I make videos all about the journey of starting a candle business. But I also like to share more about my life on this channel as well. And I just had a huge life event happen. I just had a baby about a week and a half ago. Very early, very unexpected, surprised everybody, definitely me. And I just wanted to share an update, maybe share a little bit about my labor and delivery story for you if you're interested. I know this is not candle related, so I will not be offended if you do not want to watch this kind of video. But if you are interested, then I hope you enjoy. So I wasn't due until the end of September. So the very end of September was his due date. And so I have been preparing and getting a lot of work done behind the scenes. So I have been working on filming a bunch of videos to prepare for my maternity leave. I was looking up freezer recipes to get started on having freezer meals available postpartum. I was finishing up a soy tin candle making course, as well as I'm working on a how to start a candle business ebook. I had a lot of goals and things that I was working on, but baby boy decided to make his appearance early and kind of shake up our lives a little bit more. And so we're just kind of adjusting to that. So I had a lot of plans, and I really wasn't planning on focusing on baby stuff, like everything with baby stuff, of getting really everything set up until that like 36, 37 week mark. And I was really focusing a lot on just getting a lot of work prep done. So this all happened on August 19th, so Saturday, August 19th. And I woke up that morning feeling totally fine, feeling pregnant, getting out of bed. I think the only thing that I recall remembering that was maybe slightly different than, or that stood out to me, was my top right abdomen felt harder than usual, but that was about it. Which, looking back now, I'm like, was that a contraction? I have no idea. It might have been like a Braxton Hicks or some kind of like super, super early labor contractions. I could have been contracting all night and I had no idea. But because I didn't really feel anything. All I remember waking up and just kind of having more of like a hard spot in my top upper right abdomen. So I got my day going, made breakfast, ate breakfast, and honestly, I had plans that whole weekend to just finish up all of my digital products that I was working on, finish up the candle making course, finish up the ebook that I've been writing, and even Chris and I were planning and talked about maybe filming some videos that weekend. And it's so funny how like life changes and throws things at you. So basically what had happened was, it was shortly before 8:30 in the morning. I went to use the bathroom. I sat down and I felt this almost like shake kind of motion. So it was almost as if his head kind of like shook side to side for a second. And now that when I look back, I'm like, was that kind of like a popping sensation that I must have felt? And of course, I used the bathroom. There was blood, and I'm like, oh no. And Chris from the other room heard me say, oh no. And I think I just sat there and I was like, oh no, this isn't good. Mind you, I was 34 weeks and 4 days pregnant when this happened. So I was not expecting to go into labor. I was not expecting for a baby to want to come that early. So in my head, because I did so much research on pregnancy. I mean, I researched so much about labor prep, birth, pregnancy, nutrition. I did so much of that, but I didn't educate myself on what happens during like preterm labor or anything like that, because I'm like, oh, that's not going to happen. Nobody ever expects it to happen. My pregnancy up until that point was super healthy, really great, no problems. nothing wrong at all. And so it was just really crazy that it happened that way. So I'm saying, oh no, oh no, oh no. Chris hears me. I think he was in the candle room and he was in here. And then he went into the bathroom. And of course, at that point, I'm noticing that my water broke completely. I have, fluid coming out. And I'm like, oh my God, like this is not good. Like this is not good. Complete panic mode. And luckily Chris was there and he helped me so much to stay calm. Well, he helped me not kind of get to the next level of panic. And it's crazy because he kind of told me things that I had said or did during that time. And I think I just completely it's kind of pictures in my head, because when something like that happens and it's kind of like, what is going on? Is this real life? Like, I feel like you can your memory kind of gets all weird. So we got in the car, went to the hospital, got checked into triage. And then as soon as they put the fetal monitor on me and I heard his heartbeat, it was like, okay, he's okay. All the nurses were super calm. Nobody was freaking out. And I'm like, okay, I guess if nobody's freaking out, then maybe I shouldn't be freaking out. But I'm really early, right? Like this is not supposed to be happening. But I had heard from the nurses that it was a good thing that I was past 34 weeks because I guess anything before 34 weeks has more complications with the baby or something like that. So at least I was kind of over that 34-week mark. But he was doing good in there. I mean, even the nurse was like, no, he's fine. He's very happy in there. His heartbeat was great the whole time and he was doing just fine. He just wanted to meet us. So that was around 9:00 when we got checked in. And what was very interesting to me is that I had all of these preferences that I had preferred during my labor and delivery that completely kind of went out the window when this happened, because at this point, I mean, I was like, I just want to make sure he's okay. Like anything I need to do to make sure he's okay. Having the constant fetal monitoring on me, having an IV, having fluids going into me, all this kind of stuff, just making sure that he's okay. And having cervical checks, which I didn't think that I would want. But in this instance, I was like, yeah, I just want to know, So when I got checked in, I was at 2 centimeters dilated. And that was at 9:00 in the morning. And they, on the fetal monitoring, they were able to see that I was contracting. And they're like, do you feel that? And I'm like, not really. Like, if anything, it was that upper right hand abdomen area. And it was just kind of like this tightness, but nothing like actual contractions. And then a couple hours later, I was feeling kind of like those dull period pain kind of thing. But that was pretty much the extent of it for about maybe 2 to 3 hours. And then, of course, during that time, it was just calling everybody, calling family, letting them know, trying not to freak anybody out. I mean, it surprised everybody. It was just we were not expecting that, obviously, at all. So everybody was very surprised. So we got out of triage. We went into the labor and delivery room. I got all settled in there. And then, I just remember kind of laying there. I was talking to texting my friends, letting them know what was going on, and my family. But then I also was I was also kind of focusing because it happened very quickly that my contractions started. I started feeling them a lot more. And so basically what the nurse had told me was that they wanted to try to keep him in there as long as possible because they had given me a steroid shot right when I got there to help develop his lungs. So they wanted to keep him in there for ideally another 24 hours. So in my head, I'm like, okay, so I don't want to make these contractions come on stronger. And that's how I was feeling them. So they were giving me fluids to try to help with the contractions to keep them at bay. But they were just, it seemed like every contraction was more intense than the last one, but for a little while, I wasn't really telling anybody like how intense they were because I had to, stop and kind of breathe through them. Chris was amazing through all this, by the way. I had Chris and my doula there. They were both absolutely incredible. Chris kind of like had to run home because we didn't have anything prepared. I didn't have a hospital bag. We didn't have anything. I was only 34 weeks and I'm like, okay, I have a few more weeks to prepare for that. So we didn't have anything. So he ran home and grabbed a bunch of stuff. My doula stayed with me. And then when he got back, my doula had to step out a little bit because she has a baby. So she needed to, care for her baby a little bit with her husband. And that was around between 12 and 1 o'clock was when I kind of noticed a change. I had noticed that the contractions were feeling more intense. I wasn't really saying how intense they were feeling because in my head, I'm like, I've never experienced this before. I'm in early labor. I have a long way to go. So I better just, not pay attention to the strength of them, just breathe through them and, keep moving forward. So it was around 1 o'clock, I believe, that things started picking up really fast for me. It felt like every contraction was more intense. It was just kind of, I was really just in the zone and, breathing through it, moaning through it, all that kind of stuff, and just trying to stay relaxed and trying to just, let them happen as they were happening. And I think I had told the nurse, to have another saline bag, to have more fluids, because I had told her, I'm feeling these contractions, like they're kind of, they keep coming and they keep coming. And I had always thought like, okay, when contractions start, they could be like 10, 15 minutes apart, early labor. And these contractions were coming like every 2 to 3 minutes. And it just felt like it was really intense and it was just kind of like piling on top of one another. But I still in my head was like, no, this is early labor. But then also in my head, I remember thinking at one point, like, if this is early labor and I have to do this for 24 hours, like, I don't know if I could do this without the epidural. So around the 2 o'clock hour, that's when things were like real intense. I ended up, having the other bag of fluids. The nurse was right there. She had said, if you feel any change in pressure, anything like that, let us know right away. And in my head, it was like 5 minutes later and I'm like, I feel pressure and I don't know if that's just in my head, like I don't know if I'm feeling pressure and it's just I'm just imagining that I'm feeling extra pressure down there. And so I had told Chris or something like that, like, we need to get the nurse in here. Like I feel pressure, I feel like I need to push, like I feel something. And so they came in. I think my doctor was there for a while, like, because my doctor checked me and she said that I was at an 8, and that was at 2:30. So at 2:30, I was 8 centimeters dilated. She said, a few more contractions and you'll be ready. So I think at that point, Chris had contacted my doula. She came back in. I labored on the bed too. Again, something that I didn't think that I was going to do. So I was over on my left-hand side. I was grabbing Chris and, getting through the contraction. I had my doula. She came up behind me and was like counter pressuring on my back, which was awesome. I didn't really feel back labor. It was more of, obviously on the front and then my thighs. I definitely felt a lot of the contractions in my thighs. But any kind of pressure, anything that she was doing in the back still helped and it was still really nice. And then 15 minutes later, they checked me again. I was at a 10. And then by 3:21, he was out and born. And of course, I didn't get the experience of having him on my chest for, skin to skin for 2 hours. Like I always, real emotional week, if you could imagine. Like I had always, thought it would be. It was just so different. This whole experience was so different, so unexpected. I understand, that's how that's how it works. You know, you can never predict what's going to happen. But he was only on me for, you know, I think less than 10 minutes, and then they had to take him away. Luckily Chris was able to go with him. But then I didn't see him for about 8 hours afterwards, just because we were so focused on, you know, my healing and what was going on. And, I was okay, but there was some stuff that they were like making sure that I was okay, just because it was so fast. It was just such a fast labor and delivery. And looking back now, I'm like, holy, did that happen? Like, this is wild. Like, that's crazy that that happened. And I'm like, you know, I really am super proud of myself for staying calm and in control and not panicking and not freaking out, because that was the one thing that I was so nervous about going into it, because I just have those like tendencies of the past to have that anxiety over things. But I'm super grateful that everything happened the way that it did, that you know, that he's okay, I'm okay, everybody's okay. Of course, we are so looking forward to the day that we can bring him home. It's been 11 days at this point, and it has been really hard. Just, you know, navigating postpartum, emotions, you know, trying to, you know, figure out just everything, you know. Luckily, we are able to visit him all the time. And, you know, it's quite the experience. It is quite the experience. And we have just been really focused on all of the positives in all of this. And, you know, knowing that he is going to come home one of these days, sooner than later, that he's doing really, really well. And, you know, that we're just happy that everything is okay. But I think that's pretty much the end of my labor and delivery story. I didn't think that I was going to share my labor and delivery story on here, but I'm like, you guys are so awesome. And even on my community posts, like the support from all of you and everything, I just really wanted to kind of give you a little bit more information about the craziness over the past couple of, well, like week and a half. It's felt like one long day. Chris and I are like, it has felt like one long day, because I am now on a like 2 to 4 interval time frame throughout the day. So things are changing. Things have changed. We have changed. Everything has changed. We're so in love with him. It is like the most wild, unexplainable feeling I've ever felt in my entire life. And I just wanted to share that with you. I just wanted to share the story of his birth. And for those of you that don't know, I don't really want to share like his name or any photos or anything. But just know he is really cute. He is a cutie pie. He is so cute. And we are just so lucky. It just feels incredible. So yeah, that is the story of my unexpected preterm labor and delivery that honestly was really positive. Overall, I mean, there were some moments that I didn't like, but overall, I think that considering how fast it was and how much, you know, in those moments, it could be easy to like completely lose yourself or lose control of a situation. I still felt like I did a pretty good job with staying calm and staying under control, remembering all of the things that I had learned about breathing, about keeping my, you know, my jaw not tightening up, even though there were times where I was definitely tightening up and then I had to like relax my face again. But overall, I think that, you know, it was a pretty positive experience for what it was. So obviously, you know, I do have some pre-recorded content that I'm going to be getting up on my channel. So I'm going to be editing those and kind of getting those up. And then I am going to still be working on the candle making course and the candle business ebook that I've been working on too. So I've been excited to share that with you guys. And I will definitely let you know when it's available. But other than that, I am going to end today's video right here. I hope you enjoyed listening to my labor and delivery story. Can't believe I'm saying that right now. I swear, literally the day before I went into labor and had him, I was at the library for 3 hours. Here's my last photo of my last like bump shot photo that I took. And I would have like never guessed that the next day I would be meeting my son. It is crazy. But with that, I'm going to end today's video right here. Be on the lookout for other videos, kind of sporadically posted. Thank you so much for all of your support. It means the world to me. Seriously, it means the world to me. I appreciate you so, so much for watching and supporting me. It is just the best thing ever, and I just so appreciate it. And I will see you in my next video.